morning, guys. What's up? It's Brian here with Portable Generator Services. Today is Wonderful Tuesday. Tuesday the 7th of November, 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, he's and she's and all the in-betweens. I'm going to go over a list for my food truckers, for my mobile businesses that utilize a inverter or a generator for their business. I'm going to give you some stuff that I would recommend you keep and some quick troubleshooting tests that are the most common issues that will more than likely get you back up and running. But, and I've said this in a bunch of videos. I have to say it again, it's that important. If you do not have an oil filter on your portable generator or portable inverter, not many of them do. There's only a handful. Like the 17.5 Generac and the 15 have an oil filter that you spin. You know, it's a metal oil filter, just like your car. Literally, it's like those two and like a couple of other models have it. 95% of the others do not have it. And that's a big deal. That means if you do not have an oil filter, you better be changing your oil every whatever the manual says, especially if you're using it consistently. Without that oil filter, there is no filtration at all. So just picture little shavings and little microscopic pieces of metal and dirt and carbon not being filtered at all, and it's just like, your engine's spinning and there's one thing spinning here and one thing spinning here, and like the tolerance in between them are millimeters. Those microscopic pieces of metal and dirt are gonna start wearing at that, since you don't have an actual filter. So you have to change your oil. If you want your generator to last, you have got to change that oil, especially if you don't have an oil filter. It is super important. Next thing, we're going to turn this video also into like if you are just becoming a food truck business, what you need for your generator. So next, what generator do you get? Well, if you have the funds to invest in the right generator, then I'm going to tell you, you need to get an inverter style generator. They are very quiet. Some events do not want your loud generator there. And I like Duramax. They take care of their customers. They give brand new units if they can't warranty and send you a part out because they don't have the part, they will send you a new unit. Okay? The warranty cost is included in the price. The price is competitive with all the other brands. Ultimately, for me, it comes down to customer service in the end, because ultimately they're all literally like the same quality wise, besides Honda. Honda is way more expensive, but they are better quality. But when you're using it every day, I wouldn't recommend spending the money on a Honda because you're gonna burn through it anyways. You might as well get a Duramax or a Predator with the extended warranty, so that when the warranty is almost up, either you get, what is it, like a 1 year, a 2 year, or a 3 year. At the end of the 3 year, or say in 2 years it breaks, you're getting a new unit. And then you could buy an extended warranty for that new unit and only spend $200, and you're getting a brand new unit for $200 now. That's the little secret that goes on with the food truck industry. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now, if you have any issues and you call Duramax or Predator or whatever, do not tell them that you're using it for your food truck. That technically falls under commercial use, and they can be weird about warrantying it, okay? Just say, I bought the generator for backup power and it's not working. That's it. The less you talk, the more you get. Do not tell them that I've been using this thing every day for the last 2 years and it's not working. I run it 10 hours a day at my food truck. I sell hot dogs and beef jerky. You want one? I'll send you some. Like, no. You're going to be denied. Bye. Hasta luego, mañana. So, keep that in mind. Next. So, anyways, let's touch back on that. If you can afford it, you're going to get an inverter. I tell people to try and build their food truck, to be using propane. You want to have as many of the appliances running off of propane. That's less load for the generator, meaning you don't need as big of a generator, meaning you don't have to spend as much money. And propane versus electric, propane will last longer in the sense there's less parts that can break. You have an igniter with the fuel, the gas, right? You know, it's not a heating element with a thermostat and a switch and, you know, an over temperature sensor and blah, 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 blah. I recommend going propane as much as you can. Nowadays, the generators are propane. They're dual fuel. You'll have the option of using gasoline or propane. They will be electric start and pull start. Some are not pull start. Some of the big ones are only electric start. And we can touch on how to combat that if your battery dies. But that brings us into the next subject. So you're getting into the food truck industry. What do you do? Okay. Well, you are going to look at all of the things that you need to power in your truck when you're cooking food. You know, I don't know what, microwave, your stovetop, your, you know, warmers, any electrical device, anything that you plug into your outlet is what you are going to look. You're going to either, if you can't like pull the refrigerator out, then you're going to get what the name of that refrigerator is, and you're going to go online and you're going to look it up, and then you're going to type in wattage or data plate next to the brand and model number of whatever the hell, refrigerator you have. And you're going to find the wattage. And you're going to write down every single thing that you're using. You're going to write down the wattage. What? Write down the wattage on from every single thing you're going to be powering. Okay? Add that up. And that is a rough figure for what size generator you need. Now, let's say you add up and you get to 7,000 watts. Please do not go and buy a 7,000 watt generator. Why? Well, you are already maxing out the generator. If you buy a 7,000 watt generator, you are running it at 100% max load. That's not good. You want to oversize the generator a little bit. I mean, the more the better in a way. I mean, you don't want, a 17.5 generator if you're only using 3,000 watts. You want to have 2, 3, 4,000 watts of extra wattage. So when you do your calculation, it's called a load calc. You look up everything. And so if you can pull out, your fryer or whatever electrical oven, you will find it. It has to be on every single electrical appliance, has to have that data tag, the nameplate that gives you the voltage, the wattage or amperage, the frequency, and whatnot. Okay? So you don't have to look up everything. You can find it right in front of you. But some of the big freezers are heavy and you can't pull it out. And so then you just look up the brand and the model name and you find that photo. You find the brand that looks like yours. You find the model that looks like yours. And if you can't find it, then look at 2 or 3 models that are similar size and do the average of those. It's not the end of the world if you're not exactly, on point with your wattage figures. Why? Because we're going to oversize the generator anyways. Okay? You don't want to be having 7,000 watts and literally using all 7,000 watts. Your generator is going to be running at full capacity, which means you're working it to its max all day, all night, all day, all night. You don't want to do that. You want it to be jogging. You don't want it to be sprinting the whole damn time. Okay? Next, batteries. If you have a push start generator or an electric start generator, you have a battery. You might not know where it is. It could be connected. A lot of the times when you order a generator, though, you have to connect the negative. And what the fudgety fudge. I really hate my GPS. I really do, mate. This stupid thingy. I'll get back to you guys in a sec. So, the reason why I take the alligator clips off and directly connect it to the battery is because the alligator clips get loose all the time. You would have to literally take the freaking plate off that's blocking the battery every time to connect the alligator trickle charger. This is way easier. You have a quick connect, so there's no work to it. You directly connect it to the battery posts, and forget about it. What's awesome about the smart charger, what's awesome about the smart trickle charger is it will not overcharge the battery. It will shut itself off once it gets your battery charged to a certain voltage. Then, once the battery drops down enough, the trickle charger is going to kick back on. And so that is what is different from all of the other regular chargers. You might be using a trickle charger, but if you don't have a good one, it's going to continuously overcharge the battery and cause it to stop working also. It's like you might as well just not use one if that's the case. So keep that in mind. And we got a couple more topics to go over. All right, sorry about that earlier, guys. So we were talking about batteries. If you've got a push to start, you push a button and it starts up, or a key and you hold the key and it starts up. If you do not have to pull cord it, you might have a pull cord, but if you can push a button and it starts, you have a battery on that generator. All of the Duramaxes, when you buy a new one and it's shipped to you, the negative is not attached. And there's a little square plate on the side that you take off those bolts, the 4 bolts, and you pull that cover off, and there's the battery. So, if you have a battery, in order for it to last you more than 3 months, you absolutely need to invest in a trickle charger. Specifically, the NOCO 1 amp smart battery charger, battery tender, trickle charger. They're all the same. They just are different words. And what that does, especially with the smart one, this NOCO, which I've sold like 40 of them now. They're the best. None of them have broken down. They're great. And they're only like $30 or maybe like $40, and that's it. And it's going to save you from buying a battery every 3 months. It'll keep one battery. You'll have it for like 3 years, which is like the average life cycle. It's a smart battery tender, trickle charger, whatever you want to call it. So what happens is, at night, when you're done your event and you drop your food truck off and you're parking it at, a commissary or whatever that term is, and you're hooking it up to shore power, regular electricity, right? So that your fridges and stuff stay cold. That is what you're going to have the trickle charger. You're going to have the trickle charger connected somewhere in your food truck, so that when you're on regular power, that is getting powered. And then it has 2 alligator clips on the other end. So what I always do is I get an Allen key. I forget what size. You have to take the alligator clips off of the eyelet connector that the red and black wires are connected to, so that you get rid of the alligator clips. And so all you have are circle connectors that the wire's connected to at the end. You're going to go and put those where the battery circle connections are hooked up on the battery. So let me rephrase that, because I said battery connections. Where the black and red cables on your generator go, they're going on the battery. The positive side of the battery has the red cable. The negative has the black cable. You're going to take whatever is tightening and holding those cables onto the battery, loosen it, put the red trickle charger cable right on top of the red battery positive cable and then put the screw or bolt that's holding that to the battery and tighten it back down. So now you have your trickle charger cable directly hardwired to the battery. Now, you might say, oh, well, then how do I take it off every time? So if you look, there's a quick disconnect button that's already on the smart charger. So when you go to an event and you gotta move your generator around, you've got to just do the quick disconnect and kind of like put the wire that's there, figure out if you got to get a zip tie or something, and just let it chill there. Then when you're done your event, and
then turn right.
God damn. When you're done your event, at the end of every day, you will connect the quick connect to the trickle charger that's plugged into the outlet where the shore power is. And that's going to turn on and it will charge the battery
head west
every single night. Like I had said earlier, these generators do not charge the battery. Only a couple do. You know, only a couple do. So keep that in mind, because if you don't,
your destination is on the left.
Where the hell? If you don't hook up a battery tender every night, your battery will die. There you are. There you is. So let me get back to you. I know I'm all over the place, but this will definitely help you out. I'll talk to you soon. Good afternoon, folks. What's up, guys? It's your boy, Brian, with Portable Generator Services. This is still going to be part of the food truck series for new food truck owners. The last thing that we had talked about was batteries. Basically, it will not charge. You have to have a trickle charger, correct? Unless you've got one of the few portables that do charge it. 17.5, 1500 Generacs do charge while running, and some of the Hondas do. Other than that, you've got to put a trickle charger on it, okay? Anyhow, next topic that I've seen people talking about, and I've seen a lot of wrong information shared, is adapters for the generator plug going to your food truck plug, right? So let me just go over some things. If your plug has 4 prongs, that means that it is capable of doing 240 volts. Let's just also jump over to your switch, right? You have on your generator, more than likely, you will have an option that'll say 120 volts.
In a quarter mile, use the right lane, take the ramp to...
You'll have an option that shows 120 volts, or you'll have the other option that shows 120 volts / 240 volts, right? Number one, don't ever change that
to take the ramp to Florida.
while the generator is running. Don't ever change that, especially if it's under load. Especially if you're powering stuff, do not ever change that. So, what I'm trying to get at is put it and keep it and forget about it. Put it on the 120/240 volt option, okay? Even if you're using 120 volts, it does not hurt. Just keep it on the 120/240 volt option, okay? Don't ever change it. And that basically is saying if you're only using 120 volts, that will still work. And if you've got a 240 volt appliance, that's the one it needs to be on, or your appliance wouldn't work if it was on only the 120 volt setting, okay? Now, back to adapters and cords. Number one, you see a lot of, guys, what do I get? What adapter do I get so that I can connect to a regular outlet, but my generator has the 50 amp connection? Okay? So again, for portable generators, there's only two settings in a way. You're either gonna have a 30 amp or a 50 amp. If you get to around, and I'm pretty sure the GenMax generator is the only one that has the 50 amp on their 9500 inverter. Duramax just came out with the largest inverter in the world right now. It's got 16,000 watts starting with 11,000 running. Don't quote me on this specific wattages, but it's literally right around there. It's dual fuel, gasoline or propane, electric start, 2 50 amp outlets, and then the regular fucking duplex outlets. Excuse my language, sorry. So, if you've got a 50 amp outlet on your generator, and you want the regular plug that you would see in your house, right? It's either gonna have just 2 prongs for like the regular things, but then sometimes you'll have that ground prong, you know? Sometimes it'll be the 3, it'll be like the 1, 2, and then you have that like circular prong for like GFI stuff. Anyways, so you want a 50 amp converted to a regular duplex. The issue, if you don't pay attention, is most of the time those conversions, so those adapters, you gotta make sure that the wiring is rated for 50 amps. Most of the time, it won't be unless you specifically find one that is. And so what can happen is you're gonna have this wire that's not big enough for 50 amps, and you can melt the wire. You know, you gotta be careful with that. The correct way of doing things is to uninstall and reinstall the correct outlet so that you don't need an adapter. You get what I'm saying? So basically, the only time that you're gonna need an adapter is when you are parking your truck, your food truck, at the end of the night, and you need to have it plugged in to shore power overnight. And so you're going to have either your 50 amp or your 30 amp cord that would be plugged into the generator, but instead you're going to put the adapter on there and then plug that into a regular outlet at the house or the building that you are storing the food truck at. That will be fine. That is okay. Where it becomes an issue is if you are using your generator and you've got a 50, you've got a 9,000 watt or a bigger one, and you've got a 50 amp receptacle on the generator, and you're getting an adapter that drops it down to 30 or even 20 amps. There is no protection, so your generator is going to produce 50 if it's called upon. If you have a large enough load to take up 50 amps or 40 or 41, whatever, it will produce that. But that cord that is now you're adapting from 50 to 20 or 30 amps is not rated for 50. And so that's where an issue can happen. Is it a really big deal? It can be, right? And once the one time that it does cause an issue is all it takes. What will usually happen? Nothing. The cord will get hotter than normal, and that's it. But I can't tell you what's going to happen. It's if the wire is only rated. So there's the American Wire Gauge, AWG. You're going to have, for a regular extension cord or adapter, the smallest, like the shittiest cord that you can get is going to typically be 14 AWG, which is rated for 15 amps. Then you go to 12 AWG, that's 20 amps. Then you go to 10 AWG, that's 30 amps. Then you go to 8, which is going to be around 40. And then you go to 6, which is going to be around 50. So just keep that in mind. The way around this to not take any shortcuts is to buy an industrial adapter. What's up, guys? It's Brian here, Portable Generator Services. This is still a continuation on new food truck owners or existing food truck owners. I'm sure you're going to learn something that you didn't know from my video. If you find this video helpful, please share it in whatever food truck groups you're in. Help as many people as possible, and subscribe. It helps the channel out, it helps me out, and it's free, So anyways, I appreciate it. Let's carry on now. We're going to talk about the false advertising of a carbon monoxide shutoff built into the generator. So nowadays, you're going to have a couple of different models when you're buying one, and they're going to say, oh, this model has a carbon monoxide monitor, and it's going to be like $200 more. Don't get it. And you're going to say, well, that's a safety feature. Like, why are you not wanting it to be safe? This is the issue. When you put the carbon monoxide alarm on the generator itself, it shuts the generator down a lot. The wind will carry the exhaust carbon monoxide right into the alarm and boom, shuts it down. They're too sensitive, and you'll see, if you do some research, you'll see that a lot of people are like, I hate this thing. It shuts down all the time, even in the middle of open air, like I'm in camping. It's not even in an enclosure. It's just out and it shuts down because the wind will literally just blow it every once in a while into the alarm and boom, shuts it down. Don't get it. Instead, save the $200 or however much they're charging extra and go and buy an actual fire alarm that is a carbon monoxide also for like $40 and just put it in the food truck and that's it. That'll prevent the generator from shutting down on false carbon monoxide alarms, and you're gonna save a ton of money, okay? Don't get the carbon monoxide model of the generator. Just buy a fire alarm, carbon monoxide, actual alarm, and put it in the food truck. Next, let's say you're at an event and your food and everything's good, generator's running, and then all of a sudden the generator dies. What do? This is exactly what I want you to do. Number one, if you've got a Honda, they will show you an alarm. It'll show you like an E-whatever. Take a photo or a video of what is on the iMonitor screen. Take a video of what is right there. And go look it up. Next, number one thing, when your generator shuts off, just out of the blue, I want you to check your gas, check your fuel level, and then check your oil level. Take out the oil plastic. It's going to be either yellow, gray, or black, but it's at the bottom on the actual frame. Go ahead and loosen that. If the oil cap does not have a middle dipstick and it's just a cap, like you loosen it and pull it off and there's literally like nothing to show you like a measurement, what that means is that you need to fill the oil to the thread. Like when you twist the cap on the frame of the block, you'll see the threads, right? You want to bring the oil up to the bottom of the threads. Honestly, fill it up until it starts leaking. On a level surface, you need to have oil in there basically to the top. It's not going to hurt it. What will hurt it is if you tip the unit to be able to add more oil or to be able to not spill any. You tip the unit and you just continuously fill it until it fills up while you have it tilted. You're overfilling it a lot. If that is the case, when you pull the oil, when you loosen your oil cap and oil starts dripping out when it's on a level surface, let it drip out. Go ahead and, maybe tighten it up so that it doesn't make a mess and go get prepared. Go get some rags, but you want it to not drip out. On a level surface, you want to take the cap off and see the oil literally right at the edge, but you don't want it to be dripping out, pouring out, none of that. So if it is, go get some rags so that you can contain the mess and let it drip out until it stops. So you check your gas, your fuel, then check the oil level. Now, if you just have a cap, and so what did I say? The oil literally needs to be filled up to the threads or the top. It's not a big difference, that little bit. and you don't see oil there, you need to add oil. And so that brings to another thing. No ifs, ands, or buts. You need to go have 10W30, any brand. I recommend full synthetic, but it doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt it if you don't have that, or if they don't have it in stock. Get any oil in that sense. It doesn't even matter if it's not 10W30 in like, you know, a slight emergency. But if you are able to be prepared, go on Amazon and just type in 10W30 full synthetic, and go ahead and order a quart or a gallon, and just have it on your food truck. That will cause your generator to shut off. Your gas level, it will shut off, obviously, if you run out of gas. Those are literally 99% of the time it's going to be that you run out of fuel or you are low on oil, okay? I promise you, if you just go and have some extra oil, you're going to save yourself some money and you'll be able to start that generator up right away. Next is, and I got to make a playlist like food truck stuff, because I've made videos about this already, and I don't want to go back and make, you know, say the same stuff that I already have made videos upon. But ultimately, like, that's really all. If it's not that, if you've got full oil and the fuel is not empty and it's not turning on, you're gonna be you're not gonna have that really, you know, you're gonna need to have it looked at by a professional. Now, like I said, I've made videos on how to have a backup plan, which involves a inverter. Now, obviously, say you've got a 9,500 watt generator, you're not going to be able to buy an inverter that is 9,500. The largest you can really get typically is going to be around 4,000 or 5,000 watts. And a 4,000 watt inverter is going to run you $300 to $400, and then you have to have it installed. If you can't wire it and install it yourself, you know, that'll be another 100 or more. But what that will allow you to do is, if your generator fails, you will be able to use the absolute bare minimum, and you would run your food truck engine. You would have to run the actual engine for the inverter to work, and you would be able to power the bare necessities that you needed to get through that shift, so that at the end, then you can go and have your generator looked at. If you want to look into more of that and kind of have a better explanation, check out my videos that have food truck in there in the title. And like I said, I'm going to organize it a little bit better, and I go into detail on what you need to do. But the next thing is that's really it. I mean, like I said, I've got a ton of videos that all explain everything. Like, you don't want the idle or the eco mode on when you're first starting the generator. You know, little things like that.